Okay, I quite literally have forgotten where I left off here. But where we are right now is I have science all the way up through yellow science, and purple is next. I have reworked recently my power because there was a power shortage, and I also recently set up the remaining 4 items into the mall, which were the processors, the batteries, the concrete, and the low density structures. And the LDSs I just built here locally. The concrete I'm providing to the bus, and I built it up here. So plenty of concrete. Blue processing units and batteries I just built in one place because they're required together on the mall, and I'm pretty sure that other bits of build that require them will want both of them, so we'll just leave them like that. This also required adding another 4 belts to my main bus, which required pushing up the existing builds by a little bit. Not too bad. You see here that I disassembled one chunk of the red chip factory and set it up. Green, we may have to do the same thing. I did start upgrading the plastic lines because we are going to be running short on plastic at some point. But it turns out that what we ran short on first was oil. And I'm not sure whether I showed this or not, but all 3 of my oil areas are now this doubled up build, which is all ready to have modules put in. Since we don't have any purple science, we've got all these things we can't research until we get purple science in. So that's our next thing, is purple science. We have plenty of robots in our robot network, so over 1,000, slightly over 1,000. Hum. Okay, and I just need to get purple science going on this wire, and we'll be ready to go. So what we're going to do is we are going to assume that purple science can come down here. Just going to build this whole thing on the fly. And here we go. So what do we need for purple science? One of these runs at 6.429. So 90 divided by 6.429. So we're going to need 14 machines making purple science. So 7 times whatever I'm about to build here. These require 3 different items. They're going to require rail at just over 1 per second. So rail is going to be on the close belt, and the far belt is going to be furnaces and productivity modules. So let's drop some markers in so I don't forget what I'm assigning here. This guy is rails. And furnaces. Where did we go? Here. Furnaces and what? And productivity modules. Okay. So if we're doing that, This guy, in terms of basic inserters, we don't really need fast inserters here. Everything is nice and slow. And I'm wondering if I can build the two things here on opposite sides of a belt. What does it take to build electric furnaces and processing units? Electric furnaces require steel plate, advanced circuits, and stone brick. These guys require advanced circuits. Ah! So if we have this, this guy requires those. We could move these around a little bit. So we bring in red and green chips on here. Then this looks like that. Let's make sure that's correct. Red and green, not very much. Yeah, that works. And this guy is going to require red, steel, and brick. So let's put these guys up here. Green, red, steel, and brick. Okay, so he's going to need to pull something from all the way over there, and that would work like that, and pull some things from there. What does this look like? Oh, we need so steel and brick together are going to require a blue inserter. Well, that works. And yeah, so let's make this a group of two, because I am suspecting that this is going to be symmetric. Just like that. And just to make it look, well, that has to pick up from here. This is perfectly acceptable. So, power. That leads the power straight across, makes it nice and linear for me. And is there anything else I can do to simplify this for building? Not a lot. Although I could move in. If I moved in like that, yeah. Whatever, the robots are going to build it. I'm not building this one by hand. There. Yeah. Okay, so now the question is, this build gives me excess of these by some amount. I'm not sure by how many. So if I run this down, I can then trim it off until it's making just enough. And that's probably going to be the easiest way to make this build. Snap to grid. Relative, we have the right height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the whole thing except for the rails. Let me double check this while that's building. Rails, electric furnaces, productivity 1s. Check. Here we have red and green going in. Here we have red, we have steel, and we have brick, and that's all correct. And rails, well, we'll find out how many rails we need in a moment. I probably should have set up rail here. So rail output is a full inserter here. I'm wondering how much rail I'm going to need. Maybe not a lot. So, what have we got here? Well, we're going to need 4 more rail machines. We have 10 extra these. And we have 4 extra of these. Like that. So I can trim off everything down to here. And everything up to here. And then I just have to establish power for these guys. Now, it's tempting to put the rail up in this area, and I would if I was trying to build a compact factory, but we have more than enough space for any of this, so we'll just leave it out here. What all do we need for this part of the build? We need rods and steel plate and stone. So steel plate and stone are going to be input, and I'm going to get somebody building rods. This will all have to move around, no doubt. So I need 2.5 of these machines. Well, 2.5 to 5, that sounds like it's a direct insert to me. So we need our output. Oh, how much output is that in terms of a belt? We're going to be outputting a whole belt. That's going to be a nice trick. Let's put it on a red belt then. There. So half of a red belt can get split and come back together and be our yellow belt. And if we really wanted to be snazzy about it, there. So one of these for two of those. And frankly, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. If I really wanted to, I could have this one fan out like that. Yeah. Provides a little extra. Now, some people will put boxes in here, and I'm just going to put, no, let's go ahead and put boxes in. It's customary. Do I have any wooden boxes? I have no wooden boxes, but I can blueprint one, and maybe it will come. We have no wooden boxes in the logistics network. That's fine. Do I have any these guys? I suspect I do. I don't have any iron chests in. Oh, I'm outside logistics range. Yeah, there we go. So I have wooden chests. Just like that. Now, unfortunately, with it set like this, I didn't leave any way to bring in the stone and the steel plate. So, notice what we're going to need here is we're going to need half a belt of steel and half a belt of stone coming in. And in terms of inserters, that's one basic inserter for each one. So it's going to be 2 reds. Now, in terms of output, I need 9 basic inserters outputting. So we are going to be forced to do things a little weird. So this is going to be 2 in and 1 out per. let's start from the top. There's that. Now if we wanted, we could take this and dip it in, but I'm not going to bother with that. And we can plant our power in the gaps. So this is the stone and steel. Notice this needs brick and steel, this needs stone and steel. So kind of interesting. If I'd planned this differently, I might have had a single steel line which fed both of these. But I didn't plan that well. Let's check our input rates. So these require one basic inserter per good enough. So this whole thing needs to be adjusted vertically. And I'm going to place it so that these guys line up with this. This is kind of forced here. So how can I make this better? I really don't want to relocate this because these assemblers are actually on the line where I want them. There. Okay, let's start filling this in. So here we have red and green. There's red, there's green, and here's where our mix is going to come down. So for the mix to be here, this is what I would want. So he is prioritizing down. We have prioritized middle already. So there, and prioritize right, and boom. Leave a place for red to come down. And here. And now we need a place for him to split off. Boom. Just like that. So there is our red-green line. So if I cut these, this is how far it comes down before splitting. So these horizontal lines need to be relocated. So this is still kind of squirrely here. I think I could cut that whole thing and paste it here. Let's paste it one higher. So this lines up with that. And that is not quite right. That works. So that lines up these, and boom. So with red and green, we're getting our productivity 1s here, which are landing properly. Let's make sure we have everything in the positive range. Yes, we do. We're making a little bit of extras of various things. That's good. So this line is our steel and brick. So there's our steel. And our brick is up there. So we need to bring the brick down on the left and have it match up with the steel somehow. And unfortunately, this is going to be... Oh, I think I can make this work. So if we have this here, like that, and this guy comes down here, so now we just need to get brick here. And there's our brick. So it's steel coming down, and we got the steel coming in. We'll have the brick in a moment. Here we go. Electric furnaces are now being supplied. There we go. And now the railroad tracks. I got rid of the marker for this. Well, this is stone and steel. So there's the steel. And stone, again, is up here. So we're going to do the same kind of a thing. Now the trick here is that this is too close. So I am going to have to do something that I don't like doing. I'm going to have to tag down below like that. But that means our stone comes down here. This stone. So might as well just bring it straight in like that. Stone and steel combine, coming down here. There's our stone. So these are ready except for the rods, which come from iron, which is just right here. So have we unbalanced our iron at all? Let's take it from the second set of iron. There we go. So as we see, we are now making all of this stuff. And this is pretty close to a saturated belt. In fact, I'm going to call that saturated and we're good. We will occasionally have a holiday in here because inserters don't fill perfectly. Oh, now this is interesting. We are saturated here and not here. So I think, is there a way that I can manipulate this? No, there's just no room in here for us to do anything fancy. Oh me. Well, if it isn't full, it's very close. So what I'll do is I'll upgrade that. This doesn't actually buy us anything. Boom. Trick I learned from a previous thing. If we do that, that will catch a little bit extra. And I can do the same thing here. I believe this will work. Oh, he's never going to be backed up anyway, so that doesn't matter. So these first four are always going to have space. We are not always able to get the steel in. Let's make this. There. So the actual problem here is that I just don't have enough steel on the line. I may need to upgrade because, yeah, well, this is going to have to do. We have the capability now to make use of more steel than we are currently smelting, just by a little bit. And if I light up more science, it is likely that we will chew up more steel making, say, military science. Oh, goodness, we are probably doing that. What are we building here? Let's take a look at purple. We need to find all of our sciences here. Oh, right. Red, green, blue, yellow. And where's the rest of my science? Is it near the bottom? There's purple. Where'd military science go? I really wish there was a search box for this. Well, there it is, if I could just get it to stop jumping around. There we go. So last, say, 10 minutes. Yeah, we don't quite meet our requirements yet. So next thing, are there any of these things that I want to put in a box? Well, probably none of them. I will have small quantities of things coming out. We're going to have problems here because we are at the tail end, Charlie, on steel. In fact, let's take a look at our steel in general. Steel here and steel consumption. So currently we are producing 585 and we are consuming 930. So our production is slowly increasing, probably as we are activating more and more of our smelter arrays. So we should be able to see that up here. Yep, very visible. As we start drawing steel out, it's interesting. Yeah, each one of these will have filled up with all the steel it can carry, and they will be spewing them out. So these only light up when we have drained enough steel from the array. So to double our smelting, we will be taking this entire smelter bank and just plopping another copy above it. So doubling up the distance. And once we've done that, we have to go back and change all the yellow belts to red belts. And the problem is that we are not going to be having enough ore coming in to feed it. So this would be okay for iron, where we temporarily could draw more than 5 yellow belts of steel at the cost of not smelting iron. But when we do that, that means that we're going to want to reorganize our inputs so that we are actually taking ore from trains and training in stuff from a remote iron ore and copper ore and so on, which will probably be somewhere way outside our current radar. But in any case, we do now have purple science moving, which means that in theory I can start researching things that require purple science. So we're going to let it finish the artillery here. And of all these purple science things, what are our highest priority things? Well, let's see, how about inserter capacity and blue. I'm going to go for the level 3 modules and Covarex. I like to have Covarex research before I even start working on nuclear, so that I can start building up and getting Covarex going as my preferred solution. What else do we have here? We can work on worker robot. Oh, well, nope, that's it. So that's purple science done. And shortly we will have additional things that we can put down in our mall. Maybe. Oh, automation 3 is another good one. I would really rather defer those and get automation 3 out. Oh, and yes, let's do that. So we will be able to module things shortly. In fact, given that, let's defer some of this stuff. Yeah, so we're going to get increasing our inserters and our belts and our automation, and we're going to affect transmission and the modules that we use, which are speed and productivity. We'll pick up the other one later. Once we get those, we're going to be working on whatever it takes to build the tier 3 speed and productivity modules. Those are going to be core to increasing our smelter throughput, which is going to be important when we start training in. Oh, hey, look at that. There's copper and iron down there. Maybe instead of increasing this smelter array, what we'll do is we will build a new smelter array using the electric smelters and modules, and we'll get that, get that to start filling itself in. So you already see here we have base 1, starter base, main base. I may have to start thinking about how I want to organize the super base. Anyway, so that's enough for now. I'm going to call this a video.